Stepping Stones is all about helping a local church grow. So most of what we've said is about what the local church does together as a community. We talked about the group contacts we already have. We talked about putting in place intentional stepping stones as a church to help people take the next step. And we talked about building in milestones into our services and other events. Moments people can find faith, go deeper in faith, and apply faith in new ways.
But church growth is not just about what we do together as a church. It's not just about the structural things we build into our life together. If we see church growth only as re-engineering the church, we'll be missing something essential. We mustn't forget the personal dimension. We can set up all the groups we like, but if nobody in our church wants to talk about faith or share their faith with their friends, we are seriously stuck.
In 2019, General Synod produced a report on evangelism, and it contained a couple of statistics that are absolute dynamite. If one person in 50 invited a friend to a church event and they started attending church regularly, that alone would reverse our entire decline in church numbers. If 2 people in 50 did that, our church would start growing. If everybody in our church did that and kept on doing it, our growth would be exponential. In other words, we'd double in size every single year.
Yep, you can't separate the structural from the personal. Church growth is about a local church providing a pathway that helps people journey to faith. But it's also about me being willing to talk about my faith. And it's about little things like smiling at newcomers and having conversations with them.
But let's be honest, so many members of our local churches find the idea of sharing their faith terrifying. I'd say most people in all the churches that I've ministered in would have been nervous at the idea of talking about their faith. So the challenge is about providing pathways to faith as a church, but it's also about helping people with personal faith sharing as individuals.
So why is it that so many church members are nervous about talking about their faith? Partly it's about style and temperament. Our CLV churches often appeal to those people who like to be private about their faith. Sometimes people feel out of their depth. They worry they won't know the answers to any hard questions. Sometimes people worry how the other person will respond, even if the other person would actually be very open to hearing about their friend's faith.
There are lots of reasons, but the result is the same. It's hard to grow a church if most members don't feel able to talk about their faith, and if most church members don't invite friends to church services and events. And it's even harder to grow a church if nobody ever smiles at visitors.
It's a question I've been wrestling with for 30 years now. How do we encourage all church members to talk naturally about their faith? A traditional answer to that is called the testimony, a before and after story about how the person became a Christian. You learn your testimony and you share it if people ask you. But I'll be honest, my problem with the traditional testimony is that it imposes a shape on the story. Most people's journey doesn't easily fit a clear before and after. It's messier than that. So a while back I wrote a short course called Faith Pictures to help people tell their story in a different way. It's free and it's online, and you'll find it on the resources page of your handbook.
I'm one of those people who took part in Faith Pictures, so I'm a bit biased, but I think it's great. It helps people find word pictures or images that make sense of their faith journey. A roller coaster, say, or a snorkel, or an off-road vehicle, or a pair of reading glasses. Each person comes up with an image that's real and personal to them, that says something about their unique journey. So it's easy to say to a friend, well, my faith's a bit like a roller coaster, lots of ups and downs, but I believe God's with me on my journey.
One of the nicest things about Faith Pictures is the feedback I've had from older people in traditional churches. A lot of them have felt able to talk to friends and neighbours about their faith for the first time.
So why not try Faith Pictures in your church? Incidentally, most of the interviewees in Faith Pictures are from Manchester, so it's got good roots in the northwest. Or you can borrow Mike's idea of helping people identify their own personal faith image and do it in your own way.
Or you could try a different approach. In your handbook, we gave you 3 questions in advance to fill in before today. One said this: if your friend asked you to say in a short sentence, "Why are you a Christian?" what would you say? It's a helpful question that focuses people's minds. You could help people in your church come up with their own short sentences that says something about their faith.
It's all about building people's confidence to talk about faith in a down-to-earth way. Oh, and don't forget yourself. In my experience, this is often a challenge for leaders as well.
So we're saying an important key to church growth is church members feeling able to chat naturally about their faith. Everybody feeling that they've got an easy way into the subject and an honest account of their own journey.
There's one other thing we need to add. It's actually been implied in everything we've said, but it's worth being direct about it. And that's the importance of prayer. It's so important that we pray for growth as a local church, in the intercession slot in our services, in our prayer meetings, and so on. But also, we need to encourage every member of our congregation to pray for friends and colleagues to come to faith.
Here's an easy way we can do that. Have a look in your handbook. You'll see we've put lines numbered 1 to 3. It's a checklist of 3 people you can pray for regularly. Have a think whose names you'd put there. A family member, a friend, and then one other person. That might be somebody from work, a member of a club you're in, or a neighbour. You can start filling that in for yourself now and finish it later as homework. And you could do it as an exercise as a whole church.
We also encourage you to follow this course up with a discussion with your local church team. You can let us know your reactions to Stepping Stones in a moment.
It all starts with the search for hidden leopards. We keep our focus outwards on non-members to see what God's doing in their lives. We said faith's a journey. A key part of the journey is trusting a Christian, and that's where our existing contacts are so important. We also need to put in place stepping stones to help people take the next step, and milestones to help people find faith, go deeper in faith, and apply faith. And finally, in this video, a reminder that it's not just about church structures, and it's not just about the vicar. It's about every church member feeling able to talk about faith in a way that feels authentic to them. We're convinced that any local church can see real growth if it's intentional about doing all these things.
So thank you so much for joining us. We hope you've picked up some helpful ideas that you can apply in your own neck of the woods.
And may God bless you as you pray and work to see His kingdom come in your community.